and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today I'm going to be working inside Artistly and also inside Canva, and I'm going to be working in a little different way. So let's jump in right now. We got to create design. We're going to be working inside the Fast AI Image Designer. And as you know, if you are familiar with Artistly, Artistly is multiple designers in a whole package, and it is a one-time fee. More about Artistly later. But anyway, today I'm going to go into my personal designs, and I want to show you something amazing that I have discovered. Um, these are some of, let's see, let me do it this way. Let's go into my folder. Into wordplay. Okay, so let me just show you now. This one, disregard it because it's really not, it wasn't created the way that we're going to be doing today. So anyway, quite by accident, I was just kind of playing around, and I realized that you can do some really amazing things here in Artistly as far as getting some elements that you can use. I got this great metallic, basically kind of an engraved looking or textured looking metallic that I just thought was fantastic. So let me now go and show you how I did it. And then we're going to experiment and see what else we can do. Isn't this really cool? Okay. So there's lots of different applications, but this is the trick. I know a lot of you understand that a lot of times the words that you try to do or use are difficult to get inside Artistly and get them spelled correct. But this is one thing that you can do that I have found that is almost like a reverse process. So basically, what I did was I created my actual what I wanted inside Canva first. Now, could you go inside Artistly, and we'll explore this. I actually did it this way the first time, like I said, when I sort of stumbled upon it. So I hadn't really thought about it, but we may be able to do it straight inside Canva. Inside Artistly. So we'll try that way too. So it's always good to have more than one way to do something. Okay, so basically, this Mr. and Ms., the bride to be, the just married, all of those are here now. Just married, bride to be. I did both of those in the silver and the gold, and then the Mr. and Mrs. in the silver and the gold. And so we'll just work on one. Oops. Okay. We're going to just, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to do this because I want to use the same font here. I'm going to duplicate this page. Okay, so what I wanted this to say is your, and we're going to reduce the size. Your, and then I'm going to show you some applications of how you can use this. And then this one is going to be invited. And you may already know where I'm headed. Okay, so I think I'm just going to do this way. And we could do it this way. I think I'm going to do it that way. So you're invited. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to share, download. We're going to select the current page, download it. And y'all, this is so super simple. And I have tested it and tested it. Now, I'm not going to 100% guarantee you it's going to work every single time. but my testing was really good on the lettering part. And then I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more about um, some things that didn't do quite the same way, and that kind of thing. But we'll talk about, like I said, we'll talk about all that. Okay, so what we're going to do is go into the AI design assistants, and we're going to go under the human stylizer. Yes, I know, I know, I know. Really, I do. I know I've blown y'all's minds with all of the videos that have come out this week, at least. Okay, so we've chosen the You're Invited, and we're just simply going to say change to a beautiful gold. Okay, simple. It hasn't been taking very long with this particular one. Y'all, seriously? Really? It even added this little flourish at the bottom, which I did not have. But how cool is that? Now we're going to download this because, okay, we're going to go back in again. Human stylizer. The only thing is, it is a bulky process. So, all right. Now we're going to play with it and say, change to a beautiful gold. Flatten the lettering. And see if it'll do gold, but it'll mash it down and make it more, not quite as raised. Right now, this is something I haven't experimented with, so we're just going to see what it does. And there you go. It flattened it out, and it actually almost gave it kind of a little sparkle. How absolutely cool is that? Okay, so now we have two gold ones. We can go back in, and this actually is working up pretty quickly. I mean, it is bulky to have to do, but really, once you have these made, think of all the different ways you can use them. You can, and I'm probably going to sell. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to be selling a clip art pack of all of these different things. That is something I plan to put in my store. I don't care. We can all have them in our stores. It doesn't matter. I'm probably going to use them in my invitations. Not going to lie, but that doesn't mean that you can't apply the same technique. We'll just do it differently. Okay, so change to a beautiful silver because you have silver and gold. Now this one looks very, we'd have to, remove the background, but this one is very raised. So we can go back in, grab it again, and I think it's interesting that it's adding that flourish. Okay. Change to a beautiful can't type this morning. Beautiful silver. Flatten the let's see if it listens again to flattening it. Not super flat, but it did flatten it a little bit. So now we've got You're Invited in both of the colors. Okay. So then I decided to experiment with these shapes of these labels that I really, with the previous video that I created this, I fell in love with this, and I even told everyone I was going to use them for some invitations. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go back in and go into this, and then we're going to go into the library, and then I'm going to go into the folder for this t-shirt journal. And we're going to grab some more of these because I have a lot of different ones. So like we're going to do this one because I just think, oh my gosh, uh-oh. Let me go into another screen. I've gotten this blown out of proportion. Let's go back in. Go here, go here, go here. Unfortunately, now I've got to go back to the journal. Let's see. Okay, let's go back. Now, okay, I want to use this one. And we are going to change the change to a beautiful silver. And we may have to tweak this because the first one I did, oh no, it did it pretty well. Okay. So this one has a little more color on the inside and it's not quite as silvery. So what we're going to do is go back, but it's still really pretty. I mean, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to go back in. We're going to go to this and change image to foil silver. So these are just kind of the words you can play with to get different applications of it, because like if it doesn't give you the kind of metallic, then you can use metallic, you can use foil. I didn't have to use that. Okay, so this gives us a foil look, and we could remove it. So very textured-y. Okay, so we're going to go back now, and we're going to go back in. And we've got more that we can select from. Okay, so this is the one that was really worked well. So let's look at, it's a flatter kind of design. So let's try this one. Let's see what it does. Because this one was perfectly embossed. But when I tried to do, okay, so that gets us a little bit closer to what we want. So very pretty. Okay, so let's pop in. I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to download it. And then I'm going to kind of show you my thoughts on doing the bridal invitation. Let me just go to, already got one open. Okay, so what I'm going to do is upload this image. And okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a sheet. We're going to drag this over. Actually, it's not going to fit, so we're going to have to do it manually. Okay. So we're going to remove the background. Okay. So we have it like this. We're going to make sure that's centered by aligning it. Okay, it is centered. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to kind of look. I guess I used the same. I'm going to take this whole thing right here, copy it, and then I'm going to pull it back up here. And then we're going to take it and we're going to put it inside of here. Okay. I'm just doing that to save time. So we're going to remove that. And we're going to make this much bigger. Now this, I'm not sure I want it rounded because of the, so let's take it and let's do it like this. We're going to enlarge it here. Okay. Together with their families. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And we're going to go up right there. Okay. So we're going to make that a little bolder so it shows off better. Okay. Lizzie and Jack, we're going to ungroup. And I want to do Lizzie and Jack a little differently. Nope. Let's try this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to type them out because. Okay, advanced formatting. There we go. Let me go backwards here so I don't do that. Okay, so go back to here. Lizzie. Marissa and Zach. Marissa. And Zach. Let me see. Marissa. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to put those back together. Group them, and then we're going to make sure that they're. This, I think we need to put it on 2 lines. Whoops, what did I do? Okay. Okay, so 2 lines, and we're going to center it back up here together with their families, Lizzie and Zach. And we're going to make sure that that is. Okay, so now we've got to look at the, let's make this a little bit bigger. And there is definitely a question among different people who do invitations and stuff as to whether, how large and where you bold something and that sort of thing. But I guess it's because my eyesight is not the best. I like to make sure that you can actually see. And let's see, the seasons. We don't need the seasons. We need, there we go. Now we can see it. 5th of September, 2025. Change that. To follow. And look how pretty that is. Okay. So, another thing that we can try, because this is so dark on the inside, is we can go back over to, and that's there. Okay, let's get back over into here. We're going to go back and choose this one again and take it back into our illustration. I'm just trying to show you the versatility. Okay, so that's a little dark. So maybe we want the center to be a little bit lighter. So we can take it back in and we can try. That's kind of the beauty of all of this. So this particular one actually has a little lighter inside. These were some of the other versions. I'm going to go ahead and put that one in. And then what I'm going to ask it to do is to make the center a lighter silver. And maybe we can get the shading a little bit lighter on it. I don't know. I haven't tried this before. But this is some of the things that I have been in my mind. Okay, so it did. I don't really like where it pulled it out. So let's play with it a little bit more and see what we can do. So let's just say we go back in and back to the Human Stylizer. We go back and now we go to choose from library. Okay. So what we want to do is remove the background and leave the frame with a transparent center. Now, typically, Artistly is not going to give you a transparent anything that you can actually download as transparent. You can download a PNG, but it's not going to give you a. Okay. So it's an interesting image, but that's not exactly what I want. So let's go back to trying to get a consistent light. Not there. Even Stylizer, back to the library. Okay. So let's just say we want, let's go back to this one. And actually, let's go back to this one and let's make a copy. Then we're going to take this and we're going to go into the edit and we're actually going to see if we can just take care of this inside. Now that's better. And that's better. So I think probably, but look at this. Oh my gosh. That is fantastic. Okay, so let's go here. That's a little dark. Let's lighten it up. All the different colors that we could now do. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Now, intensity wise, let's see. We can also play with the intensity of the filter. Aura. That's pretty. Vintage. Now, this is perfect. So rather than going through all the trouble of trying to prompt it inside, this one is perfect. This one is absolutely perfect. And you see what an amazing, beautiful wedding invitation this is made. Just beautiful. And this is, yeah, side by side, this is how dark it was, and then it would be perfect like this. And you still have your metallic look. Still looks metallic and vintagey, but you just used your filter inside Canva. That's why I always say that Canva Pro, which is right now it's less than $15. I think it's more like $13 or something that I pay per month. And it's cheaper if you buy it for the whole year. And I'm really probably just going to go ahead and pay for the whole year and save a few dollars since I know I'm not planning to cancel it. So, this is why I say that Artistly and Canva Pro are like two peas in a pod. They work so well together. But let me just show you. Let's go back in here. Let's do this. Let's let me see. Okay, we have 3 right here. I'm going to make multiples right now of this one. And then I'm going to show you just how fast that I could do a whole collection of these. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to change it to this view. So we have the darker one, the original, and then we have all of these. Okay. So I'm going to start with the third one. I'm going to go back into, and all we're changing at this point is by going into the filters. So I don't like those. Now, that one's not bad, but these are still a little bit too dark. Now, this one, I like the blue, but I think we could probably find one that is going to be a little lighter. So this is one of the ones that we had used before. That's very pretty. So we'll leave that one. That was Capri. We're going to go back into this one now. And then we're going to go over here. We did Capri, Latte. I like that one, but that's a little too... Latte. We'll leave that one. And then we'll go back to Sandy Sangria. That's pretty, but it's a little too dark. So another thing you can try is, lightening it up through your transparency. I wouldn't advise it. That one's too dark for us to really be able to see. So I think it's gonna. We had the best success down with some of the ones down here. See, that's still pretty. The blue is really pretty. The turquoisey is really pretty. So that's very pretty. We're gonna keep that one. very readable. And then back over here. I think that was Stark. The purple is very pretty, but let's go on down and see if we can have one of. See, all these are pretty, but they're a little too dark. So let's go to the vintage ones. That's where we got our. This one is also very pretty. You have just a little different look. Let's go back in. I think mostly down to the vintage looks like those are going to work the best. Antique, yes. See, those are much better. So I would probably end up using these. And here, back to edit, back to vintage. Antique, nostalgia, dream, definitely dream. And then retro. I think that this one works just as well as the retro one, even though the retro is pretty. So let's go on down to soft and vintage and mono. The mono ones are basically just classic. So we already have one of those. So anyway, so that gives us, we can flip through. That's a little too dark. That was our original one. So we changed it to this one, and you can read it really well, and it still has all of the detail. This one's a little bit too dark. I probably wouldn't go on with that one. I probably would eliminate that one. I like this one, but you still have the edges where you can't see really well. This one again is pretty, but it's pretty much the same as the other one. So here we get sort of the bronzy look, and then we can do sort of a bluish teal that's also very pretty. And let's go back in and see if we can find at least one that's sort of more of the purplish. Because, was it Ara? That's vivid, so that whimsical. That's still a little teensy tiny. That's rose, that's too dark. I'd really like to have the sort of, obviously that's not going to work. So I tell you what, let's try this one. And it just occurred to me, there may be another way that we can get what we want. Okay, so I like this purpley whimsy look. Let's go back now and go to adjust. And let's adjust this just a tiny little bit, the brightness. We can work with the vibrance. There we go. And the saturation. So see, you can also use these adjustments to work with it. Okay, I think that actually would work fine. You can read everything really well. So, and the thing about this is if you've got this is not a true emboss. It's not, but if somebody owned a Cricut and wanted to do it, they could do it with their cardstock, and they could actually cut out this shape to mail. So that could be a beautiful, it's made to look embossed, but it does have this beautiful shape to it that would cut out very well. It would be time consuming for a very large wedding to do it that way. However, they could essentially, do maybe these are like a 5 by 7. They could do, just ignore that size and do 2 per page and have it a little bit smaller, card. As long as you can get an envelope, it doesn't really matter. So that would be something that people could foreseeably do, is to have these shapes and cut them out if they're doing their DIY ones anyway. Or, it's possible that they could take them to a print shop and have them cut, depending on the capabilities of that print shop. But if you did leave it just like this, and let me just make a copy so I don't mess up this, because I'm probably going to put all these in my store. But you could do similar, not this design, obviously, but you could do similar, cutouts and that sort of thing, just to set yourself apart. And, something else that I think would be really pretty that I'm thinking about doing is trying to get, like maybe a pumpkin design or something, like for fall, you could have pumpkins, you could have sunflowers, you could have, and then have them with this embossed look. You could do the paisley and even have it more of a, a tooled effect back here. So, let's try something. And again, this is me being wild and just taking off in a squirrely direction. And I apologize, but some of my best things come from this. So, okay, so we have this. We're going to go back in. We're going to just put this. And we are going to ask it to turn this pattern into a digital paper. Tooled, embossed look. And I'm not really sure how it's going to interpret what I just told it to do, but we will find out. Okay, well, it didn't really do that. So I tell you what I need to try to do. Let's go into the t-shirt journal. Let's go into here. Let's go back to my original. Okay, let's go into find my original one. I think that's farther down. Well, where is it? Let's see. There it is. Okay, this is my original. So I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to go back into this. And then I'm going to, instead of vintage junk journal scalloped mini label, I'm going to put digital paper featuring lace corner spaded script, cream colored base with slight shadowing. This is probably not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. What I like to do is get that pattern, more like just a solid pattern that we could put behind it. I don't even know if you understand what I have in my mind. That is probably going to take a few minutes to do. So let's do something else. Let me What's a romantic vintage? Let's see, featuring paisley design. Okay, we're going to move on and I'll come back to that. But I'm really pleased with these. I think they're gorgeous, but it would be really pretty to be able to put something like this, an embossed thing all the way around the back, inset the back of it. I just have got to figure out how to word it to get a similar look. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and close that since I keep going back to it. Okay, let's make sure this hasn't come up because it's probably not going to be what I need anyway. Okay, so let's go back um, to Canva. Let's go in and let's um, duplicate this page. Okay, so now what I want to do is show you what else you can do. So we're going to remove this part of it. And I had created a bee, just a pretty bee. I'm going to remove the background. And then let's just assume that their last name is going to be Benson. You could create, they may want the initial here. And, that's a very minimalistic kind of look. We could extend this together with their families. Okay, so we're going to go over to this and we're going to grab the arch and we're going to paste it in right here. Okay. And we're going to move it to the back. Okay. So now we're going to we've already got this somewhere. Where was it at? Together with their families. Let's just grab this so it doesn't take as much time. This is where you learn to make the most of your time. Okay, so let's put that there. Let's make it bigger so you can actually read it. Together with their families. Let's make this. Okay. Gonna move the B kind of up there. Lizzie and Zach. Let's make sure it's aligned to the center. Make sure this is aligned to the center. And that this is aligned to the center. None of it was aligned properly. This would just move up. And there's so many things you can basically use the same layout. So if you're wanting, and I'm going to do a video on this to show you how to set yours up. Actually, I would probably move this here, and then I would move this. And then these two, I would group, and I would move them there just to give good spacing. And here is just a very basic, this is green, so I would go in, and since this is gold, I would kind of make that a gold. Like that. We could take this B and take it in now into Artistly. Oh, well, it's not exactly what I was thinking, but hey, let's go with it and see because these are really pretty. So these would make beautiful invitations too, especially if we can turn them into the gold or silver. So let's grab those. Wait a minute here. Okay. So from library. Okay. Apparently, where are they? That's odd. Why is it not showing up my. Okay, let me just do a little refresh here and see if. There we go. So they're there. Let's just see if we can get them to go. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why that's not updating to come here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up. We're going to go over to personal designs. There's always two ways to skin a cat, or more than one way to skin a cat. We're going to go back over here, go to Human Stylizer, to Browse, to here, and we're going to ask it to change to a beautiful gold. That's lovely. That could be very pretty. Okay. So another thing that we can do is we can download this, and I'm going to take it over into Pixel Cut, and I'm going to remove the background. Downloads. So we're going to remove the background. That's not going to do what I wanted it to do. Okay, so it did not remove the edges. So what I'm going to do now is go back in here, and I am going to ask the Human Stylizer to remove the background, or okay, remove the white and cream backgrounds. Maybe it will leave the actual image. And I'm doing this in two parts just because I don't think it would have. Okay. So that kind of works. It took away some of the detailing. So now that I know how it's acting, let's go back and ask it to do something else. Okay, so browse. Let's go back to this one. Maintain the frame, but remove the background of the page and the interior of the interior excuse me, the interior of the paper. Okay, so now we can get this. I think we can get this to work. No, let's see. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to try to take this one and change the framed outline embellishments to a beautiful gold. It's just hard to separate and have it understand that you want only those little details gold. Okay, it did it. Okay, so now we're going to download that one. And then we're going to take it into Canva. I'm going to duplicate this page. And we're going to upload that one. Open. Okay, and then I'm going to actually add a page. Okay, so let's drag, no, too big. So we're going to actually try to remove that background. Okay, so we've removed that background. And now we have another pretty frame. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take the Canva again, why it's really good to have Canva. And we're going to turn that into silver really quick, and we didn't even, okay, so let's gonna go back to where we were at. Okay, so I tried turning, that even changed it, so we have to go back even far, back to the gold. But that's an easy way. Now we've realized that we can even change that. So now let's go over here and see if we can figure out a point that, there we go. Well, that's a little bit, that kind of works. Okay, so now we can, this is a little off-white in the center. So we want to make the outside the same color. So we're going to go down here and hope that this gives us that. It really doesn't. It picked up on the other color, but it's still very pretty. So I'm going to go with that. So now we're going to go back over here and we're going to eliminate this. We're going to copy this and we're going to drag it over here inside of here. And we need to let's make sure this is centered. Yep, that's centered. Okay, so we need to do the reception, move it up here, and that means moving this up just a tiny bit. Okay, down, 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 and up, 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 up. And that's lovely. That is so pretty. Now let's make sure that this is, actually we're going to have to ungroup it and kind of do them individually. Align. This doesn't work. You're just going to have to manually do it because if you center them, they're not going to be right. Yeah, I just realized that. Group. So we just need to, and I'm trying to get it grouped again. There we go. Now they're grouped again. And look, we just have to kind of center it ourselves because it's actually not a uniform kind of look. That is gorgeous. That is really gorgeous. And move this maybe down and over just a teensy tad together with their families. That is stunning. And fairly minimal. And this is the way design happens inside of Artistly. I mean, literally, you can't. This is where those happy accidents, where you get something you weren't even expecting. And just by, you see how this brought it out by just taking this. Now let's apply that over here and see how that would look if we went to this one and we play with the coloring. But instead of that, we're gonna do it different. Okay, so if we do the shape and we put it behind, oh my goodness, what did I do? Okay, I just need to make this. The reason you need to do it that way and not as the background is because what happens is, we're going to go all the way to the back. Okay, so we could literally make this fit the different colors that like a bride would want. So this is like a soft pink that we could do. And I really should not. I should have made a copy. Let me make a copy here. Duplicate it because I don't want it to be that way on all of them. So we're going to remove it. And then we're going to go back to the pink one. Okay, so with this one, so we've got like a pink. I probably wouldn't think most brides are going to go with a pink. So let's just say that we go with look at some of my colors that I've pink. I think those are already in there. So let's see. Let's choose. There we go. So we can go back in because we've got the transparency up, but we could do this. And now I would think this one would probably look better on one of the other ones, like maybe this one. But so let's go back up and let's choose something cooler to go with the silver. So let's choose like the purple. Okay, the lilac. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over here and there we go. Like a dark plum. So you can pick out your popular colors and put them as a background. Now, what I tell people a lot of times about printable invitations is you have to think about, if they're doing it at home, their ink consumption. So a lot of times it's not feasible to do a whole lot of dark color, but you can design, you can still have those in your shop. You can just put a little line that says these may be better for, sending out to, due to the ink consumption, or you can just leave it to their own, you know, their own devices, what they can take it, because a lot will take it or send it to a professional printer. So you're not eliminating them being able to use it that way. It's just a matter of giving them the options. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this one again, and then we're going to take this and go back over here and then choose a cream. And see, that works even. Even something like this. And then, see, okay. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to pull in Let's go over here and we'll go to this one. And we're going to pull in the You're Invited. Let's see. This is the flat one. So we're going to do the You're Invited. And we're going to remove the background. And then, because I don't really want the infinity little symbol there, I'm going to go in and just erase that. Because, oops. Let's reset. Okay, now I'm going to erase it. And remove the background. Okay, so You're Invited. Let's work with this one. Let's duplicate this one. Drag it over here. And we're going to remove the B. Then we're going to take this one and drag it right here. And then you have the You're Invited together with their families. I would remove this part because, You're Invited doesn't make any sense, but it is very pretty with this particular design. And then instead of request the honor of your presence, just add the together with their families here. Lizzie and Jack together with their families request the pleasure of your company on their wedding day. And then you've got a whole different design. Just very quickly. And that's very pretty. So that's how you can use some of those letters, the embossed kind of letters, to work with that. And again, you could offset this with a different color. This is just very classic. And you could even go back in and you could change the colors. It's all in what you want to do. You could change the color there so that it reads a little different. Maybe this one, and change it to the gold as well, just to give it a little balance. Some people might want all of it, the gold to match. So you could do that. This we need to go up here so we can grab the Lizzie. But this is how all of it being in the gold color would look. And that is very pretty. And again, it's all about options for people because some people are going to prefer different things and you're going to want to offer them as many options as you can. And the more options you have available, then the better it's going to be. So they're very formally, very traditional, but still somewhat minimal. But think about this with all those frames that you have, that you've created. Go back and look at those things, and then let's pop in and let me show you again some of what I discovered. So we're going to go to the the wordplay. Okay, So let's look at some of these other things that we did. I went into the t-shirt designer and looked at some of their things. Now, one thing I was not able to do was get rid of this. So you would have to remove it inside the t-shirt designer. And then I came up, it gave me this when I removed the 1915. So you're not probably going to be doing personalized, or you could put the people's names for different things. Let's go back to the personal designs. Okay. So what I want to do now is show you this. Okay. So this basically, these are little embellishments that you could do as well. So go and think about all the images you already have, frames that you have. But I will say that if it has a lot of color in it, it doesn't do as well. As far as getting the metallic-y, embossed kind of look. I'm trying to think here. Let me just go back in and let's go to my florals, and I'm going to find something, and then we're going to try something different. Let's see. First off, we've got to find an image that we want to work with. And all of these, in case you didn't know, I've used my playbooks, my best-selling playbook series, to create my images. So sometimes I'm prompting, and sometimes I'm just showing you what I've prompted. So let's find something that would look really pretty. And I'm going to try and create some elements for you. Okay, so this one might be good. I'm going to download them just so it's easier for me to get to them. And then we'll work with them. Because we're going to have to... Oh, that's not going to work either, so... Well, let's see. These are from all kind of different attempts. Okay, here's some frames. Really cool. Those are a little busier than I want. Okay, so we may be getting into some things here that we can use. Okay, I'm going to try to use this one. I think that might be interesting. And that one. Okay. Now that I've got a few, we're going to go in and I'm going to go to a different place. Okay, so we're going to go to the portrait. And we're going to go to browse. And we're going to go to this. And we're going to Go down. Now this says this feature works perfectly with human images only. Now I tried it and it worked okay. We're going to see. It may not work. So convert this image into a line drawing. And if it works, then that'll be good. Okay. Shh. She's a very good guard dog. She hears everything. Her doesn't mean to be loud when I'm doing videos, but it happens. Okay. It's taking a little bit longer. Shh. Okay. While we're waiting on that one, I'm going to try it let's just try using the regular human stylizer. Okay, so convert this to a line drawing. That one just really, I liked the way it looked when it converted to line drawing, but we'll see. That one was a lot faster. So, okay, so we have this really pretty image. So now what we're going to do is go back in to Human Stylizer, because this is beginning to be one of my very favorite. Not there, over here. There we go. All right. So now we're going to say change this to a beautiful gold. And I hope that it's going to just do the outlined areas. When I had done it before, the line drawing worked out really well because it just, okay, so now that one did not, I mean, it's pretty, but it's not what I was looking for. So we're going to do it again. And we're going to tweak a little bit our prompt. So we're going back in here. And we're going to put change only the lines of the drawing into a beautiful gold. It tries really hard to give us what we're wanting. It's just that sometimes we don't tell it in a way that it understands. See, it's not understanding that. So that's okay. We're going to troubleshoot it. Okay. So, that one, I'm going to restart the design. Okay. So we're going to go back, and this time we're going to try the photo editor and see if we have better luck with that. And we don't need that. Choose from library. We want, my images finally showed up. Okay. Change this line drawing into a line drawing where the lines are a beautiful gold. Make sure that only the lines are converted. And we'll see how that does. We'll also go back into the stylizer and use a similar prompt. Convert the lines into a beautiful gold. Maintain only the lines. Only change the line color. Okay, so the human stylizer is going to view it that way. And I'm not sure what the difference is between, actually, now that I look at it, it did the same thing with this one. It didn't do the lines, it did the whole thing. So that is just too busy. That image is just a little too busy. Let's try something different with it while that one is working to figure out what I'm telling it to do. And let's go back to the human stylizer. Let's go back to here and just say flatten the look of this image to see if we can get it where it's a flat gold and not just a raised gold, and that may make a difference in how it looks. Nope. It's kind of stuck on this, I think. So it's not changing anything, it's just leaving it the same. Well, it may have flattened it a little bit. Let's see. Let's try something different. All right, so because you may want to work with similar images, convert this image to a flat lay 2D. Okay, so this did flatten it. It's still not completely flat. So we're getting somewhere at least. But I can tell this one was flattened a little bit more than the others. This one may have had a tiny bit of flattening applied to it, but back up here, back to convert this image to a one-dimensional image. It's just not. It's going to be a little bit raised. I think that's part of that whole embossing kind of thing there. Okay. So let's go back and look and see. This one still has not populated. So we're going to move on. Okay. So let's see if we can actually take one of these. I think that in the scheme of things, if we were going to do something with it, we would probably go back. I like this one best. So let's see how it would look if we were going to do something. I'm going to make a copy of this one and we'll bring it in. And what I'm thinking this would be good is maybe like a 50th, and that's another thing that would be really good is just to go over into this one here and do embedded, duplicate, and then just do 50. Duplicate it and do the group those. Okay, so we're going to do anniversary. And we're going to share it. Download current page and done. Okay, back over here. We're going to go up and we're going to do this while we're placing something else. We're going to go here. Change this to a beautiful gold. Okay. I'm going to go back into our invitations. And this is our copy here. So we're going to remove this. We're going to remove this. We're going to take this and remove the background. And we're going to play with it. That actually does not look very bad. That's actually very pretty. Okay. So like I said, happy accidents or whatever. Okay. We don't need the parents. We just need... Okay, so we're going to sort of slide this out of the way. We'll make this come up so that we've got kind of all of it. Kind of like that. Like that. Okay. And this one we're going to do the same thing. Lower it where we get the top part here. And then we're going to go back over. And that's really pretty. 50th anniversary. Spelled properly. So we're going to download it and pull it into Canva. Okay, we're going to remove backgrounds. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to move this out of the way and then we're going to put this in the middle. 50th anniversary. And then we're going to say let's take this because I think we're going to need to do something up here. Let's turn it. There we go. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So you're invited. You're I can't even read that, so I know you couldn't. You're invited to help to celebrate. You're invited to celebrate. And we're going to grab this. these. Now we're gonna have to make that a little simpler. So we're gonna ungroup them. We're gonna keep the and. We're gonna do this. Mary and Tom's 50th anniversary. And we're going to do this. Mary and Tom's 50th anniversary. Let's do it like this. Mary and Tom's. We're going to do 50th here. This we're going to scoot over. Okay. And when you have offset like this, then just centering is not going to do it. You're going to have to eyeball it correctly. So this can go over just a little bit. You can work with all of your elements until you get them kind of set up. Okay. So now let's push it out a little bit. Tom's 50th anniversary can be moved down. This can be moved down a little bit. And then we can put the September. This is really kind of getting in the way. I think I'll do away with that and then put this and line it up right. Okay, so that's, and then RSVP Alice at XXX. And there you go. So this is a way that you can use some of those words and numbers. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with this stuff. If we didn't want the little squiggly do here, which I'm thinking I don't want now, we can go in and just erase that like we did the other one. And then I think it'll balance it off a little bit better. It's already so busy, or it's kind of busy. So this way we can actually take it like this and we can actually make it bigger. And it looks a lot better. This can go. Actually, we can make it a tiny bit smaller. Like that. And maybe make it go like this and like this. I mean, even just in the corners, or even like, y'all can see the potential here. Just using the leaves, but we're going to do it like this. '50th anniversary. And this could go a little bit bigger, like that. And then you've got all of this. So, I mean, any of these can go bigger. I mean, I would probably make them a little bit bigger. The date, September 5th. So you just work with your images. Okay, so now you have this one done, let's say. And let's go into the filters over here. And first off, let's make a copy, because you don't want to mess up the one you already have. So this is one design. Then we're going to go into we're going to do the whole thing. Well, actually, we're not. We're going to, okay. What we can do is do this. Okay. See all the filters. Let's go straight down to the vintage because I think that was where we had the best luck. So let's see. This is pretty. This gives it kind of a different look. But of course, if it's your golden or whatever, you may want to stick with the gold. But let's just say we were celebrating a different anniversary. You could always take and do it away from the golden because this is pretty. So if we wanted to use this, these colors are really pretty. We could ungroup, and what we could do is, let's just say, instead of this, we're going to do Lacey's. And let's go here. Nope. Here. And let's do Sweet 16. Duplicate. Sweet. $16. Or we can spell it out. 16. Sweet 16. And birthday. Okay. And I think that we could also add just not do that one. Okay, now we're going to go and download it. And okay, so now we're going to take it back into Artistly. Go back into our human stylizer. That just still always just blows me away that it's the human stylizer, but you can do all these other things with it. Okay, change to a beautiful gold. It's week 16. Okay, back over here. Okay. Lacey's. Now this we're going to go in and we're going to try to match up. That's a gold. So we're going to try to match up the that's too much. Let's go up here. see if we can play with that's too much. I actually think maybe if we went more, there we go. I think that actually would look fine. And let's just go to this one for all of it. You're invited to celebrate. Lacey's, and Lacey's big enough. And these can be converted over to that color. Okay, so now we're going to download this. And this is going to be gold, so we're going to have to go back in and have it match this. So this one is fade, so that's what we're going to want to do. Uploaded it, remove the background, and then we're going to go in to the fade. Okay. Okay, so that's the fade. I think we may have to go with, and we're going to, let's see, move that out of the way. Okay, we can group those and just slide them down a bit. Go back over here and let's place the Sweet 16 birthday. Okay, so we're going to go back in and play around with the coloring on this because hazel's not good. Rose, maybe. Sweet 16. Now, Lacey is I tell you what, let's do this in, let's try to make it more of a silver. So let's go into the gray. There we go. I think that matches a little bit better. And then this, we already have that. Okay. And I'm thinking, and this is just me being a little bit crazy, I'm going to try to see if I can add another little element. Now, Lacey's needs to be, let's try something else. Lacey's, we have to be very aware of, like, maybe doing something a little bit different because having the two scripts is a little bit too much. So Lacey's could be like this. But you see how you can literally take how pretty that looks if you change the color even on it. I mean, I like this, but the I'm even thinking if we go in and duplicate this one and then play with this to control the intensity of the gold, like that. See, that looks a little bit better to me. A little bit more elegant, and not quite so gaudy. So, you could really play with all of that. Another thing that we could do, now this is bronze, and we wouldn't really want the bronze. Latte. Now the latte actually looks like a pretty gold. It tones it down just a tad. So I mean, these are all the different things that you can actually work with. I have another idea for you. Just when you're working with something like this, duplicate it again. Let's move this out of the way. let's move this and let's put it kind of put it out of the way. And then I'm going to group all this together so that I can just move it. Okay, and play with this. Okay, so let's just say you wanted to do something like this and have it go all the way across. You know. Now this is just basically very simple. We need to go all the way across. And then we need to straighten it, kind of straighten it up. And then we could copy it and don't like that. Not really liking that too much, so okay. So I know y'all think I'm crazy now. Okay, so got that like that. So now let's work on the transparency of it. Okay, we're going to remove this. We have this, and we're going to work to get the right look. So let's go with this. And then we're going to punch it up here. So it's like that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this, grab the arch, copy, come back to wherever I am here, paste our arch in the center like this. Now, did you ever think that you could do that? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this backwards and grab our ungroup, move this up a little bit, move this up a little bit, move that up, move this up and make it a little bit smaller, move this up and make it a little bit bigger, move this up and adjust it a little bit, and then move that to there, and look how pretty. Endless possibilities. Endless possibilities. Then, you can adjust it however you wanted to. But see, we've taken that, what I would consider a marginal type image, and used it as a background just by adjusting that transparency, pulling out our, now this was green originally, if you remember, so we would go back and we would make that gold. But we could do the 25th anniversary and do it in silver, and I will probably go back and make these flowers into a silver and then come back and make that. Y'all, I've got to get all these invitations I've been designing on these videos in my store because they're really pretty. Now, one thing that we do need to do is I need to group these because it's going to bother me that it's not centered properly. So we're going to group them, and I'm just going to adjust it a little tiny bit. Okay, that looks better. So that's pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've seen all the different possibilities. We've worked through troubleshooting, which I think is very important in any video. I think you're going to take this technique and you're going to be posting all these different things that you've seen it and then you immediately knew what you were going to do with it. I think it can add a really elegant look to your images and everything, so that you can do some word art and you can carry that over into things for, really fancy events, your bridal showers, your, and like I said, 50 milestone anniversaries, sweet 16, stuff like that. So this has been a little bit longer video. I believe that the techniques that I've shown you are going to help you make a lot of money. If you haven't bought Artistly yet, now's the time to do it. You can they have a code for 10% currently. Don't know how long that's going to last, but it's definitely a program worth happening. It's very, very versatile. I keep finding different ways every day to use it. Um, if you don't have my AI artist playbooks, they're best selling on Etsy and everybody's loving them. The reviews are great. And I'm just so thrilled that so many people, so many creators are using them and finding great results and learning how to prompt better. So you can find all the information also down in the description with the links. If you're from the EU, purchase on Gumroad. The code currently that I have running is Summer50, and all of the playbooks are available on Etsy except for the junk journal one. So if you want the junk journal one, it is on Gumroad. And also, join my Facebook group. That's a free resource. Also, my weekly newsletter is a free resource right now. And I think that pretty much covers all the links down in the description for you. And if you have something that you want to share, if you've done something and you're having good luck with this video or other videos, please do leave me a comment. I love reading them. And be sure you've subscribed so that you are notified when I put out new videos. And like the video, that helps as well. Share it with your friends. If you have other creator friends, help me pass the word about my channel, because so many people, especially when it comes to Artistly tutorials, a lot of people struggle, and they don't have to, because most of the time the things they're struggling with, I've usually covered in some tutorials. So you can help a creator out by sharing my channel. I do appreciate when you do. And yeah, thanks for watching. And until next time, happy creating.